Hey trackies, welcome back to another video. Please remember to smash that subscribe button, hit the like button as well. That's how the video gets to the YouTube algorithm. Share the video if you care. I hope you all care, so share. And yes, please sound off in the comment section below. So 2024 is the year that Shelly and Fraser Price is slated to hang up her spikes and retire in glory at the Paris Olympic Games. However, things do not go according to plan. And when we look for Shelly and Fraser Price to take to the track in the women's 100-meter semifinal, we do not see her line up. Now, since then, there's quite a number of speculation as it relates to what really went down. Of course, on TXT Track Time, we did post a video of Shelly and Fraser Price being barred from entering the warm-up track before the women's 100-meter semifinal.
On Netflix too. Season 2.
That being said, Shelly and Fraser Price has never come out officially and addressed what exactly happened to her at the Paris Olympic Games and why she withdrew from the women's 100-meter semifinal. Well, guess what? Now we have those answers. She did an interview, a sit-down interview with Mary Claire, and I'm going to link that in the description below, telling y'all it's an absolutely phenomenal read. Head on over and read for yourselves. It really is a synopsis of Shelly and Fraser Price's life on the track and also off the track for her. But really, I want to pinpoint and read an excerpt from the actual article. And of course, we're going to be talking about what exactly happened to Shelly and Fraser Price. This is the first time that she has, as I said, addressed it as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to read an excerpt from the article. Now, this is the journalist speaking to Shelly and Fraser Price. Now, our talks turn to the Olympics. After pulling out of last year's Olympic Games, Fraser Price didn't provide much context. There were headlines about an injury, but that didn't seem exactly right. Now, in quoting Shelly and Fraser Price, the article says, "Last year was very hard for me mentally and physically. I've always done it for my flag and showed up to do it for my country. But what happened in Paris, that was a me decision." Right? So the article goes on to say, as she tells it, after cruising through the 100-meter heats at 10.92 seconds, she was basking in what she calls the final Olympics feeling. She adds, "I felt good. I was just ready to let it all go, no fear." But when she arrived at the gate at the Stade Annex for her next run, the same gate she had entered the day before, she was denied access. Shelly and Fraser Price says, "They tell me the gate was closed, and I'm like, well, the track is right there, and I used the gate yesterday. They tell me that they made the decision to not use the gate that morning." For a runner, every second, every inch matters, and Fraser Price didn't want to expend extra energy to walk the long distance to another gate while carrying a heavy bag. She waited for at least 30 minutes, allowing the crew manning the entrance to make some calls, thinking eventually she'd be let in. "It wasn't like there were 100 people trying to go through the gate," she says. Walking to another entrance meant going by pedestrians and other attendees walking. During that time, a bus of athletes arrived from the Olympic Village, and she says that more eyes on her made her feel humiliated. With every passing moment, she was making a conscious effort not to get worked up or upset. News outlets will ultimately report on this, and a video surfaced on social media that showed her in a heated discussion with the stadium employee. As I said over here in TXT Track Time, we did post a video of Shelly and Fraser Price, being barred from the actual, entrance for the warm-up track. So Again, this really does match detail for detail exactly, what was taking place from, an outsider's perspective, at least looking on, right? She would never be let in, and eventually she walks to an alternate entrance and begins her warm up. There's a rhythm to her routine, and traditionally, Fraser Price gets to the track 3 hours before competing, so she has time to get into a calm headspace, listen to her gospel music, and then begin her warm ups. Because of the issue at the gate, she loses an hour. Things are off. She can feel it. During her final 2 reps on the track, she can sense her body shutting down as painful muscle cramps reap havoc in her legs, only rivaling the unease feeling in her gut. Her mind is racing. She couldn't go out on the track and blow it. She didn't come this far to plummet like this. Her final Olympics race couldn't end this way. I was probably having a panic attack, she says. I felt I could see it in front of me and it was ripped out of my hands. I'm a warrior. I'm a fighter. I love rising to the occasion. I wanted to do it for my country, but I had to ask, what's right for me? And so, as the public watched an Olympic semifinal with an empty center lane where Shilling Fraser Price should have been, she was making her way back to her family distraught. Upon arriving back to her Airbnb, her son saw her and asked, Mommy, why didn't you run? The warrior dissolved into tears. Trackies, listen. When I read this section, I literally burst out into tears. I'm telling you, this whole article is literally tear jerking. But this section, yeah, I couldn't hold it back anymore. You all know I cry very easily, so it was tough for me to read through this article because all of her passion is really laid bare, I believe, in this article. But this section about her son, oh my gosh, I'm telling you. Anyway, let's continue reading. In the days, weeks, and months that followed, Fraser Price went nowhere near a track. Instead, the morning after her exit, Fraser Price was on a flight to New York to spend time off the grid with her family near Canarsie, Brooklyn. She did the normal touristy things, museums, Legoland, going to restaurants. Being with the people who cared about her the most proved healing. She remembers one night in the dark before bed, her husband telling her, I know you weren't sure about 2025, but if that's something you want to do, you have my full support. She recalls, I felt so broken. His support gave me legs. There's a release as Fraser Price shares the story, a loosening of her shoulders, but it wasn't always this way. She opens her phone and reads me a note she wrote to herself earlier this year about that time. The last 2 years have been very difficult, the most painful. I felt abandoned, lost. I couldn't express myself to anyone. I went through so much grief and sadness, but I'm giving God thanks for the ways He showed up for me nonetheless. Certainly in true Shelley and Fraser Prize fashion. Now, our questions have been answered. We've asked for, almost a year what really went down with Shelley and Fraser Prize at the Olympic Games, the women's 100-meter semifinals, and she answered. And she really let us know how vulnerable she was during that time, the humiliation that she felt, and how really her family helped her rise back to the top. And here she is for her final farewell. Trackies, please head on over to maryclaire.com, read the full article. It is an absolute phenomenal read, giving you a look into Shelley and Fraser Price's life on and off the track as well to a certain extent. There were many highs and there were also lows. And what was intriguing to me was that she wasn't afraid now to share that vulnerable side of herself. And for me, it really shows the strength of a woman in sport. Take a read. Anyway, let me know your thoughts as well in the comment section below. Are your questions now answered? For me, it really confirms what we did initially believe, was that because she was restricted from entering the track, she was not able to further compete in the women's 100 meters. But clearly, it was much more devastating for her than we actually did, think. And I'm glad we found this information out. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Shelley Fraser Price. The greatest 100-meter sprinter to ever exist. Wow, what a phenomenal woman. And yeah, a phenomenal woman in sport as well. But in general, she's just a phenomenal woman. Let me know your thoughts. Like the video, of course, and subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.